Okay, everybody, we're back. Wednesday, once again, today is the 20th, August 20th, 2025. And today we have a card that I forgot existed. This is one that came out in Bloomburrow. One of the more kind of like, I think, dud uncommons from that set, like at first blush. Um, Plumecreed Mentor. This is the Mentor here. These are all little baby birds, the mentees, Plumecreed mentees. Unfortunately, they do not have a card. The Mentor is the card. So just to read this off before we talk about it a little bit. Blue, white, colorless, 4/8/2/3 bird scout flying. Whenever it or another creature with flying enters the battlefield, you can put a 1/1 counter on a creature without flying. Now, the reason why this is kind of dopey is because it forces you to play flying creatures and non-flying creatures, and you can just like draw the wrong half of your deck, and the card does nothing. But we're going to build it anyway because I think this card, incentivizes you to play a lot of really neat things. I think it asks a lot of really good questions. I think that it lets me play a lot of the cards that I like, so that's a big motivator as well. So we're going to dive in and look at some cards, get started here. First thing we're going to do is put in some lands. So let's get some islands and some lands. Just as placeholders, we'll get the actual land balance later. But thinking about this a little bit earlier, a lot of the creatures that I think are good to play in this deck are like 3 mana value and a little bit more. So this could be like a 37 lander. We'll do 18. Whoops, hello. I don't have my num lock on. Good lord. 18 of these and 17 of these. Boom. Got a beautiful 37 lands. The thing that I really like about this commander is that we kind of bridge gaps a little bit. So we want to play like good ground creatures, we want to play flying creatures to enable them, and so you want to find ways to link the two together, and a really great way to do that is with a card called Pegasus Courser. There's other cards that do this, but this is just probably my favorite one because it's a 1/3. This is a utility creature. It's not like an aggro creature, in my opinion anyway, so like the power doesn't matter. The toughness is way more important. 3 toughness is pretty good. But it's a 3 mana creature. All of them are at 3 mana except for 1 with this template. Hello, Bill. Welcome. Eddie Chillhawk from Kaladesh, if you're wondering. But that runs off energy. Flying, all these creatures fly, and whenever these creatures attack, you can give another attacking creature flying. So what we can do is we can play flying creatures to make our little guys bigger. And by little guys, I mean like ground creatures that have some value or are evasive or have some scaling ability that works well with +1/+1 counters. And then we can give them flying with something like this in combat. Obviously, like, sequencing is important with a card like this because after we attack, the creature is flying for us at the turn, so we can't like put more counters on it with flying creatures. But like, this is a really elegant way to tie the two halves together. Obviously, it doesn't solve the problem of drawing one half over the other, but this has pretty direct synergies between each of the kind of classes of creature we're going for. So there's a few of these. We're just gonna do gains flying. Whenever attack gains flying. This should be up. Oh, hold on. Maybe we should that creature. Oh, not a creature, a creature. Boom. All right, starting the misspellings early today. Yeah, so like Aerial Guide, for example, is like a Wind Drake. Whenever it attacks, creature is flying. Chasm Drake's the 5 mana one. The best ones are at 3 mana. I think that's like the sweet spot. It's like Aerial Guide, Heavenly Killin, Pegasus Courser, Phyrexian Pegasus, Trained Condor's a 2/1, but 3 mana value is kind of a place to be. And then Tristan Pegasus. There's a fair number of these that I want to play. We may end up cutting 1 or 2, but I want to start by putting all of these in here. These are just like good flying creatures. Like Wind Drake is a very serviceable template in this format. As a reminder, evasion. The format gets some heat from folks that don't quite understand how the dynamics differ. They kind of look at it and see that it's very board focused. The board can get gummed up very easily, and they have bad experiences like board stalls. But the more you play and the more you kind of internalize those things, it's easier to arrive at the conclusion that just playing more evasive creatures is a great way to circumvent that. Not something that people think about, even though it's like very intuitive. So like these sorts of creatures are really good. Blessed Hippogriff is a great one, probably the most powerful. 4 mana, 3/2. It also has an adventure to get something indestructible. So it has a little added utility. It kind of does it all. NHL Hawk we're not going to play. I do like this one in a lot of decks, but it is limited by energy, and I don't know if I want to do that. So let's put the Heavenly Quillen. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's from the Global Series deck. So it is not American, so I don't know what it is. Pegasus Courser. My favorite. I really like the 1/3 stat line on these creatures. I just find it very aesthetically appealing. There's just something like that feels very fragile to me about a 2/2, but c'est la vie. Trained Condor. This one has 1 toughness. It's even worse, but it's at the mana value I like. And then Trusted Pegasus. So we got 7 of these, which seems fine. And these things also, they come down, put a counter on something, and then you can give the thing that you put a counter on flying, which is good. So these are going to start. Another thing that I want to get out of the way before because creatures are going to be like the biggest bulk of what we're doing here. So let's just get some of this other stuff out of the way real quick. Let's look at populate card, or not populate, proliferate cards. Because once you have counters on stuff, we can proliferate them. We're also going to look at not populate, but token stuff too. I'll talk about that in a minute. So Guildpact Informant and Thrumming Bird are like pretty choice here. They're flying creatures that add a counter when they enter, and they also add more counters when they deal damage. It's pretty easy, pretty low-hanging fruit, I think, to play these cards. They're just like good in any blue X deck that cares about counters. Notably, like mono blue decks aren't great at putting +1/+1 counters on things. There's ways to do it, obviously, but it's not like ubiquitous in the same way that it is with green decks or white decks. Let's see, different one, Experimental Augury, probably Contentious Plan. Contentious Plan's fine. Just like cantrip, draw a card, put add a some amount of power to the board. I like that. Maybe Vivisurgence Insight, because we're probably going to have Mana Rocks because our curves will be a little higher. So Vivisurgence Insight is a little more appealing because we're going to be able to get the 5 mana mark a little bit better. So let's put that. Yeah, we'll put that in there. Drawing 3 cards is really good. And we're also going to play Unbound Potential. This is the white one. This card puts 2 counters on something, or you can proliferate, or you can entwine it. So we'll add those in here now, and then what we'll do is we will add token makers, create flying. So notably, Plumecreed Mentor does not distinguish between token and non-token flying creatures entering, so we can play things like Triplicate Spirits. We can play a lot of token generating cards to give us a little extra velocity, ways to just add multiple counters for one spell. For example, like Triplicate Spirits, right? It's a 6 mana spell, it convokes, so it works well in creature heavy decks like we have. It makes 3/1/1 flying spirits, so we make 3 creatures, and then we also put 3/1/1 counters across as many non-flying creatures as we want. Card's quite good. Battle Screech is the same way. So we'll put in flying creatures that also make flying tokens. Like Aspiring Aeronaut is a good example of this. It's 4 mana 1/2, so the rate is not good. But really this card reads 4 mana, make 2 bodies, put 2/1/1 counters on something, which is a lot of bang for your buck, I think. Because it's a 1/2 flyer, makes a colorless Thopter for flying when it enters. Notably, Aviation Pioneer is a little more unappealing for the same reason. It is not a flying creature in and of itself, right? You just get 1 trigger. And Basilica Shepherds, makes 2 non-flying tokens. We don't really care about that. We want to just be able to pay 4 mana, add a bunch of stuff to the board. So let's put Aspiring Aeronaut here. There's a bunch of instances of sorceries that do token stuff that we will probably want to play. Battle Screech, yeah. Battle Screech is pretty good. There's going to be a lot of hemming and hawing, I imagine, over deciding what our non-flying creatures are going to be. So we're going to get to those last, give us the most amount of time. Don't want to rush us, you know. Dragoon's Wyvern, I wish it made a flying token, because I love a 3-mana flying creature that brings a friend. Maybe we can play Ethereum Spinner. We probably should. I think we're going to have a lot of spells that cost more than 4 mana. Like Eyes in the Skies, for example. Just like makes 2 tokens at instant speed, puts 2 counters on something, so it's a combat trick too. Let's put an Ethereum Spinner in here. We may end up cutting it, but I think just putting it in here now is fine, and then we'll play Eyes, is it Eye in the Sky or Eyes in the Sky? I can never remember. Eyes in the Skies. Plural and plural. I think the cards should look pretty good. Makes 2 flyers. Puts counters on stuff. Good for the same reasons as like Aspiring Aeronaut, except like this has a 1/2, you know, component of it. So it's a little bit better, but that's okay. I don't really like want to just throw in everything that makes a token. Like I said, you know, being able to get multiple triggers off of a single card is really good. Murmuring Mystic is another thing that's good. Depending on how many instants of sorceries we have, we may end up cutting this, but being a creature-heavy deck makes it a little less appealing, but it's kind of in the same category as Ethereum Spinner, where like if we have the means with which to enable these cards, they're like insanely powerful. What's this? Nimble Thopterist enters make a 1/1. No, not gonna do that. This makes 2 creatures over 2 turns. I don't like that as much, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, I don't like that as much. Rise of Eagles is a little pricey. Rousing of Souls I love, actually. Because like the floor on this card is, you know, 3 mana, each player draws a card, which I'm game with. Rousing of Scrolls, goodness me. Rousing of Souls, which is like cool. I'm happy to give people cards. I talk about this a lot. Like giving your opponents cards is perfectly fine. Who cares? But it's also just gonna like generate like, you know, 2 tokens each time. So this is kind of a good card, I think, here. Soul of Migration is insane. Let's get Soul of Migration and Triplicate Spirits in here. Soul of Migration. Triplicate Spirits. Another reason why we should lean heavily into creatures, I think, is because the more creatures we have, like creatures with ETBs that make tokens, where's that Aeronaut? Like this makes flicker spells way more appealing, because like we can get, you know, 2 creatures, 2 triggers, then flicker it, make another creature, get, you know, 2 more triggers. Just like put a lot of counters on stuff. And obviously, like, they're busted with Soul of Migration. This card's absurd. If you've never played with Soul of Migration and have gotten a chance to flicker it or reanimate it, it feels very good. It feels good. An interesting dynamic, you know, if we look at a flying creature that makes a non-flying token, I guess we do get to just, like, it turns, like, Dragoon's Wyvern, for example, is 3 mana, 2/1 ETB, make a 2/2, like, at the floor. Which doesn't seem like the worst thing, if I'm being honest. This makes a Thopter, no, not terribly appealing. I guess Aether Super makes a token too, but let's... It's hard to know when to stop. Let's move away from this stuff for now. This is whenever it deals combat damage to a player. It's not bad. Actually, Moonblade Shinobi is quite good. We'll come back to this. You know, I'm going to put it in here now. I'll talk about it later. Cards like this are really good. It's kind of like the reason why you play cards like Aerial Guide. Because these, first of all, like, it's a ninjutsu thing. You know, whatever, we can like rebuy our flyers to add more counters, whatever. But then like creatures with good damage triggers like this are very good with Pegasus Coursers, or coursers in general, just because it makes it evasive. We're just making more tokens. These tokens fly. They put counters on stuff when they enter. It seems decent. We'll also play, there's a 4 mana one here that I skipped over, Spectral Reserves. Like this kind of rate, right? Like 4 mana, make 2 flyers, put 2 counters on something. In this format, being able to like extract so much value out of a card is very powerful, and I think that this card is actually good enough. It's the same reason why like Eyes in the Skies is good, except this is an instant. Spectral Reserves gains you 2 life, but this one's an instant. So you gain a little, lose a little, but it's all very good. We're at what, 61 cards? Okay, so now we'll throw in some like generic interaction, right? Like the good stuff, Thraben Charm, collateral damage, collateral. Coal. Do I even know how to spell? Collision course, not collateral damage. What the hell am I talking? Collision course is what I'm talking about. You know, these removal spells that deal damage equal number of creatures you control. They also have additional functionality, like Thraben Charm, for example. You know, destroys enchantments, exiles graveyards. This one destroys artifacts, and then there's another one, coordinated maneuver from Dragonstorm, which is deal damage equal number of creatures or destroy an enchantment. So like these cards are like flexible. They're good. They're always good to draw. They always do something. And in creature heavy decks, which I love to play and build, they are very, very good removal spells. They're good interactive spells. They do a lot. Also play Windwards. It's like a good card draw spell for any creature any deck that is flying, or flyers, I should say. Just like a 2 mana draw too. It's pretty good. Let's look at cards that care about flying. They have the word flying in their text box. There's probably a billion. Yeah, oh boy, that's probably not a good search. There's gonna be way too much of that stuff to sift through. And honestly, is Aerial Auxiliary is pretty good. This supports 2/2, so you get 3 counters. I'm generally a big fan of Aerial Auxiliary. I think this card's really, really good. Ardenvale Tactician. This card is sick. I could go on for hours about this stuff. Okay, let's go back. Now that we have like this kind of core creature suite, let's look at non-flying creatures. We'll just like, this is like obviously an even bigger search, but we're just gonna start. We can, just go through a bunch of stuff really easy. Like generally cheaper stuff is better because then once we hit turn 3 and turn 4, turn 5, whatever, when we're casting our bigger stuff, we can just stack counters on those creatures we played earlier. So generally they're a little bit more appealing to me, and there are some that I really like. Oh, you know what we should do actually before we do this is all the 1/1 counter creatures. I forgot about these. White has a fair amount of creatures that when they die you can move their counters on the thing. So like Enduring Bond Warden is one. I have this text. These things are great to stack counters on because you can just move them if the creature dies and they get huge and you can attack with them. Another great like thing to give flying with your coursers. Whenever a creature dies, you put its counter on a creature you control as backup, but I mean that rarely comes into play. There's a few of these. There's like a Dock Worker from Dock Worker Jones, a new one from Edge of Eternities. It enters with a counter, and when it dies, put the counters on something. Star People is another one. I'm just going to go quickly here because I know all these cards. What we're also going to do is we're just going to do the spoilers so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, these are all like pretty cheap. So like, yeah, Star People enters the counter, dies, put it somewhere else. Iron Apprentice is a great one that shows up in a lot of decks that I build because it's colorless. It's an artifact. It does the same thing. Perish Blade Trainee is one that people don't often think about. Oh goodness, that's ugly. Because it's from Crimson Vow, and who cares about that set? But it's a 1/2 with training, so it can grow naturally when you attack with other creatures. And when it dies, you put counters on something else. Like these cards are great just because they become huge threats, and if you kill the threat, then you just get to make something else a huge threat. Kind of like modular, except we're not doing the artifact stuff here. There's a way to build this deck, I think, that like leans very heavily into artifacts that lets you leverage modular creatures a lot more, but I'm not interested in doing that this time. This is just going to be a little more straightforward. And I think that's all of them. If I'm missing one, let me know in the comments below. Okay, moving on. So like, there's a world where you can just jam your deck full of like unblockable creatures and do it that way. I think that's kind of boring. As you all know, I really like building decks that are able to be interacted with. I don't think like having a bunch of creatures that cannot be blocked is particularly fun or appealing. Um, Powerful, but I don't think it makes for like the best games. Beloved Princess, however, is like a really good iteration of these cards. 1 mana, 1/1 lifelink, can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 greater, so you can block it, but nothing huge. And once this grows to a certain level, you can't really trade with it 1v1 in combat. You have to double block it, etc. And it has lifelink, so it scales really well with counters. So like Beloved Princess is a really good example of the kind of card that we want here, like that outside of like these other creatures that shift their counters around. But like in terms of like a creature that we want to pile counters on and then attack with, I think Beloved Princess is a really good one. Probably going to play Benevolent Bodyguard just because a little bit of protection is great, and since we're a creature-focused deck and a lot of things scale with creatures, it is good. Boom. I love me a Benevolent Bodyguard. Okay. So, what else do we have here? I don't really care about cheap flyers. Again, we're not trying to get them out of... Ooh, Deathblade Elite is another great one to put counters on. This is one with Provoke, so we can make this thing big and then just force stuff to block it. So it's like a removal spell, kind of. Just a fun card in general. If you've never played with this card, I was very big into Friday Night Magic drafting when this card was in Standard, or Type 2 at the time. And it is a pain in the ass, because it's hard to kill if you have mana. You can just prevent all the damage that's dealt to it and just force stuff to block it all day long. Really fun card, really cool design. Provoke is like kind of a fucked up mechanic, but there are certain like implementations of it that are actually kind of fun. In the Pendragon format, you can put, there's people who make decks with provoke creatures and like Godsends. Like whenever a thing blocks, it just gets exiled immediately. It seems like kind of boring to me, like having your commander be a removal, but it gets the job done, that's for sure. Okay, other things. I can sit on the ground and accumulate counters. I'll be a frontline strategist, but not what I'm looking for. Maybe there's not a whole ton of stuff at 1 mana value. Hopeful Eidolon's interesting. It's a lifelink creature, also just lets us bestow it. I've been like really into this card lately. A lot of decks that I've been building have benefited greatly from a Hopeful Eidolon. It's already 7:22. I have to go. Goodness me. Large zombie. Not the best one to pile counters on top of. Like creatures that do stuff, that's where the real money is, in my opinion. Because like these slots are not really where we want to pack a lot of value. Because if we're going to be flickering stuff, we don't want to be flickering these cards because this is where we're going to be piling up all our counters. So you're just kind of caught in a weird spot. If there's a lack of like interesting stuff to do, I may just play Slither Blades. It's not my first choice, but there's not a ton of stuff at 1 mana that it really kind of speaks to me. Like First Strikers are good, but it's not particularly compelling. Wingcrafter, no. Yeah, maybe 1 mana value is not where it's at. Let's look at the 2s. And a Bombkin, that's a good one. So just as like, buffs all over things with counters, gives them all first strike. That's a good one. Let's put a Hopeful Eidolon in here. I like that card. We can just play it as like something to accumulate counters and lifelink us up, or just like put it on a flyer and just gain a little bit of life every turn. It seems never bad to me. Oh, Amru Kithkin. Much like the Princess, it's blockable, but not by everything. It doesn't have lifelink, like the Princess, but maybe we can. I kind of want to come back to it. Yeah, I'll put it in. Yeah, we'll put it in. May cut it, but I'll put it in for now. Yeah, not doing the modular stuff. Not doing Armguard Familiar stuff. Sunscribe, whenever it attacks, we get to scribe. Not super interesting. You can do infect stuff. These seem pretty decent. Let's put a let's be a little cheeky with the blighted agent. Obviously, like if you want to go into a heavier like infect path with this, you certainly can. But you know, having just a one of fun of infect creature um, seems cool. Seems like it might be cool. Obviously, it's like the unblockable one, and I just railed against unblockable creatures, but this is a special case. It's just a one of. We're not stacking these abilities. It's not stacking these effects. Okay. The thing about blue-white is this, like, there's so many flying creatures, you know? I spend a lot of time brewing in this space, like Zoria stuff, and, like, it has a lot of great tempo creatures, but not a lot of things where I just want to, like, I just want creatures on the ground that just, like, you know, attack. Wear counters and attack. Like, I love Elusive Spellfist. I love Elementalist Adept. This isn't really the deck that wants them, in my opinion. I could be wrong, you know. Expedition Lookout, Fairy Duelist, Fear Surveillance. This one might not be bad because it is Vigilance, and I like Vigilance. Oh, Double Strikers. Yeah, Fencing Ace. This is a great one. Double Strikers are cool. There's a couple of these we can play too. That's sick. Push some damage. You know what? We might not need the Blighted Agent. I feel bad about the Blighted Agent. I'm not so... Obviously it's cool, but I'm still struggling with that decision. But yeah, there's some Double Strikers we can do. What's this first time flyer? This is an Avatar card. Okay, don't care about that. There's some cool stuff in the Avatars, you know, cards that were released, but we're not doing that today. Dog Soldier. Nope. 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 Oh, you know what? Actually, let's put a. We'll play Simirs. These are cards that are good in. We're going to Mana Rocks, like our curve's a little bit higher, and these are creatures that can just wear counters when you're done utilizing them for Mana Rocks. We'll play Ornithopter Paradise as well. And then we'll just play a bunch of other Mana Rocks. Those are like the best ones. You want to make colored mana and 2 mana value is like a good place to be. Alright. Boring, unblockable stuff. Boy, when you're choosy and you're picky, there's not a ton going. Deals combat damage, put a 1 counter on it. Play Hexgold Slith, yeah. Just like another thing that just scales really well. We've got the Kith Gun. There is... I feel like there's another card like this that we want. But yeah, like, ignore the energy stuff. It's just going to get counters and grow as it deals more damage. And we can give it flying, so, you know, it's easier to do that. Jeskai Elder. I do like me a Jeskai Elder, but if we're going to play Jeskai Elder, why don't we just play Looter Core, right? Boring. This is not a Looter Core deck. Well, I mean, it theoretically is, but I want to do something different, you know? I want to do something new. Let's see. We'll probably play like some Flicker stuff, like a Cloud Shift and an Ephemerate, maybe. But not too much. Maybe we should play Lost Leonin instead of Blighted Agent. Yeah, we'll do that. I feel very strongly about having 1 infect creature. And Lost Leonin seems good for that. Okay. Yeah, like the 1s and the 2s are the most important place to be, I think. We could do like Lifelinkers. There's some good 2-mana Lifelinkers. Another one of these. You know what we'll do actually is like a kind of a 2-drop is Ninja the Devours. Some amount of Ophidians, I think, is going to make the cut here. Creatures that just when they get through, they draw you a card, and, you know, we're going to be attacking with them every turn, that's for sure. Obviously, there's like a lot of nuance that goes into refining your creature suite in a deck like this. This is kind of quick and dirty, but you get the idea, you know. And obviously, like, there's more powerful routes you can take, as I've made clear. You know, we've been being picky on purpose here. Phantom Nomad is interesting, right? We just like make it so it never dies, but then we're always kind of playing catch up. All of our counters have to like go into supporting this card. Maybe it feels like a trap to me. Feels like a trap. Razzle Dazzler. Second spell gets a counter. It can't be blocked. Interesting. It's interesting. These cards are also just like also good alongside the proliferate stuff we're already doing. I was going to say Cryptomancer's a good one. We'll play the side Cryptomancer. Enters, brings a counter, gives something hexproof. Kind of does everything you want it to. Alright, 7:30. Moving right along, moving right along. Don't really want to do prowess stuff. Don't really care about that. Don't want to do exalted stuff. Not going to play Standard Bearer. Obviously, it's a power card, but not going to do it. I have Scruples. I'm not going to do that. Scruples. Soulkeeper's unlovely. Sorry, I'm just kind of blowing through here. There's a couple of double strikers at 3 mana that will play. There's a flyer, and then there's a get Billy Rider for March of the Machines. I don't think there's any other ones. I already got that. You know, we'll just put these in here now. Billy Rider and Leonin Sky Hunter, I think. Nope. It's Leonin something. Leonin something. What are the Leonins here? Surveyor, Snakecaster, Sky Hunter. Is it even here? No, of course not. Of course it's not. Okay, back to the thing here. Oh boy. You could do stuff with like Unruly Mob, but you're not like sacrificing your creatures very much. Obviously there's some synergy with like our Enduring Bond Warden and those sorts of creatures, but not interested. This one over creature with flying enters gets 1/1. That's like a little reverse synergy. It's kind of cute. Kind of cute. White Man Lion is interesting, lets us rebuy our flyers, and also like provides a body to wear counters. Not a lot of like ETBs though. Like we have like Soul of Migration and Aspiring Aeronaut, which are very, very good, but not a ton else. I might put like, depending on what we end up with, like 1 Cloud Shift or 1 Ephemerate, just as like a nod to that sort of stuff, but by no means, you know, like something that we are leaning heavily into. Probably Ardent Veil Tactician. This card is just nuts. More unblockable stuff. Boring. I don't care about that. I just don't care. Here's the thing, folks. You gotta have Scruples. Celestial Regulator. This one cares about counters. This card's good. It is a Frost Trickster, basically. 2/3 for 3. You tap a creature. If you control a creature with a counter, that creature is frozen. Speaking of which, Frost Trickster is one of my faves. 3 mana, 2/2 flying, ETB, tap and freeze a thing. So now, like, the Ephemera is becoming a little more appealing. But we still need more ground creatures. And I hate how everything... Oh, I've got some good ground creatures. Crusader of Odric, or a creature deck. These cards are all good. Argivian, there's I've been playing with a lot of these cards lately, and I'm going to put them all here. I'll give you a Phalanx, Salt Road, Pack Beast. I'll talk about all these in a second. Squad Captain, Lux Knight Breacher. I think that's all of them. These are all creatures that scale based on how many creatures you control. Lux Knight Breacher and Squad Captain enter with counters equal to the number of creatures you control. So they place very naturally into proliferate. They're ground creatures that you can grow with your flyers. They're good targets to give flying. Just kind of do what you want. Phalanx and Saltroad Pack Beasts have affinity for creatures. Cheaper based on the number of creatures you have. They also have sizable bodies, 4/3 and 4/4, so they're very cheap, very efficient, and like good aggressive creatures that you can make bigger with counters. Crusader of Odric is a Sign of the Wild, but white. Power enough is equal number of creatures you control. So like these cards are all very powerful. I've been playing with these cards quite a bit, brewing with them, and I like them a lot. I've really come around to these cards. I didn't really think much of them initially, but they are a lot more powerful than you might think. What are we at? 41 creatures, 92 cards. Okay, maybe we can do like we'll play a Keep Watch. It's like a big O draw spell. We're not like doing any Typal or Kindred stuff, so like Distant Melody is not particularly compelling here. Yeah, I mean, like it's a 17 humans, but you know, that's not the best reason when we have 41 creatures, you know. All right, let's finish going through these threes and then we'll move on. Then we will move right on. Erudite Wizard. We're not drawing a bunch of extra cards. I do love me an Erudite Wizard, though, that's for sure. Okay. Gilded Scuttler is an unblockable creature, but it also freezes a thing. I think Gilded Scuttler is good because it brings a little utility with it. This card's just pretty cool in general. Like one of the weird oddballs from this Leslianin seems a lot more out of place. We're going to remove that one. Geyser Drake. Boom, boom, boom. Moving right along. Hardened Escort. Not the deck for it. I do like this card a lot. Whenever it attacks, it gives another thing +1 power and indestructible, which is cool. Flash is interesting. A lot of interesting stuff. Like blue-white has a really deep suite of creatures. It's just like hard to sift through a lot of time. Inspiring Overseer is just like a good one. Whoop, hello, Inspiring Overseer. Play Jeshen Thief. Oh, Knighted Mirror is a good one too. Knighted Mirror. That was fine. Knighted Mirror is awesome. What was I saying before that? Oh yeah, I was talking about Jeshen Thief. Maybe. Yeah, you know, let's play Jeshen Thief. And we'll play a Scroll Thief too. I like these ones because they have 3 power base. Again, like they just don't get killed by breath weapons and stuff, which, you know, gives them a lot of leverage. Unlike Library Larcenist, which is like a 2 toughness, or Soul Knife Spy, or you know, Thieving Otter, or any of those cards. Life Sky Knight, Detain. Yeah, we're gonna play the Sky Knight. Okay, so let's do a little quick count here. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 122. Okay, so like half the creatures are ground creatures, like half are flyers. That seems pretty decent. What are we at now? 98. I kind of want to cut this Ethereum Spinner. Yeah, it pains me to do it. I kind of want to streamline things a little bit. Got what, 14 spells for Murmuring Mystic. It's not particularly compelling. We'll cut that too. Oh, and we'll play Ninja Video Powers. Because this is something we can get into play like on turn 2 with its ninjutsu if we want. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh, I already put it in. Look at me go. Look at me go. Okay, we'll find a couple other things to put in here, and then we'll call it. We'll play some just like general draw stuff. Militia Bugler's good here because it finds us a second creature, and a lot of our creatures have base 2 power or less. So it can find like anything we flip, basically. Oh, we're at 97 cards. Let's put in some mana rocks real quick. I was going to do that, and then I forgot. Azorius Signet, Arcane Signet, just like the good stuff. Mindstone. So we've got like 6 mana sources here, 37 lands. Some decent draw stuff. I kind of feel like I should cut a creature or two. Let's see. We'll cut Scroll Thief. We'll just play the 1. We'll cut Tactician. Okay, we'll put in 2 more mana rocks. We'll play the Thought Vessel, because I think not having to discard down after a Keep Watch is good. And what's another one? Oh, we'll play a Bonder's Ornament. Why not? Or Star Compass. We'll play Star Compass. It's like a diamond that taps for any color of mana, really. Welcome Jalapeno Powers. Yes, this deck does look really fun. Caca, indeed. Caca, indeed. Yes, yes, sir. Okay, so I've got 100. Got some time to Goldfish. Let's just do some lands real quick. Change this Thrumming Bird's Ugly as Sin. So we're just going to change it to that one. Let's get some lands in here. Granted, like, you can go way deeper on creatures than I did, but this is just kind of what we're going with today. As an example, I encourage everybody, you know, explore on your own time. These cards are pretty sick. So we're going to do a Command Tower. We're going to do something beach. Whatever the snow land is. I don't like bounce lands. I know I'm probably wrong for saying that, but I don't care. Glacial Floodplain. We'll play like the usual suspects, right? Like Opal Palace, Study Hall. These are the decks that are hardest to build on a time limit because there's just such a huge scope of like things to consider. So like if you are in a situation where like trying to build a deck where there's such like a decision paralysis inducing amount of things, just like cut yourself off after a certain amount. Like if you miss stuff, whatever, you'll find that stuff later and you can make those swaps. But like in the interest of just like getting something playable, you know, just get 100 cards that work, you know. Alright, I think we need much else. Let's play Skybridge Towers. I kind of like these lands. They're expensive to sacrifice to cash them into draw card, but they're dual lands that you can do stuff with, and I think that's neat. Okay, what's our balance look like? 60-30. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of what, 6 cards? So we're gonna do 4 of these. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, back to 100. This seems decent. Yeah, that's better. Actually, we'll cut one more island. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, so we've got 100. Let's take it in first spin, shall we? Deal another hand. Okay. No white mana, but we have a Gesture Thief and a Mind Stone. Okay, we can keep this. This is fine. This is fine. Not worried about it. Draw a card. Arcane Signet solves all of our problems. Okay, turn 2. Let's get that Signet out here. Then turn 3. Because this triggers on itself entering, so let's get something out before. Let's get this Knighted Mirror out. 1, 2, 3, Knighted Mirror. Now next turn, we'll create another island. We can go 1, 2, 3. Plumecreed Mentor, trigger here. Actually, yeah, well, I guess we'll forego the adapt. We'll just trigger here. 3/3 double strike attack. Boom. Next turn. Planes. Perfect. Right on time. Now we can do any number of things. We have 2 flying creatures. We can make 2 tokens. 1, 2, 3. We can just cast both of these. Or we can go Jeshin Thief and the Quillin. Trigger here. Attack for 4/4 double strike. We've got 4 creatures. Okay, so what we can do, watch this. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast Eyes in the Skies, and we'll make 2 birds. Whoops. Make 2 of these. I have 2 triggers. Let's put 1 here, 1 here. Right? And now we can go to combat and go attack with this, give this flying. Oh, this gets a prowess trigger too, so it's really a 3/5. Attack here, so we'll attack with a 5/5 double strike, jump, whatever. We connect with this, which is good, and we draw a card. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures. We'll just cast a Saltwood Pack Beast and draw a card. Look at this. Look at this, everybody. 1, 2, 3, we've got 6 mana, so a couple things we can do. What I like is kind of getting another one of these online. You see how powerful this card is, right? Like, we'll go 1, 2, 3, cast the Aerial Guide, put a trigger here, go to combat with this stuff again. We can attack with these because they fly, free damage, connect with this, draw a card. Now we have 3 more mana. We'll just cast another one of these. This has flying. This does not. Let's put a 1 here. So like you see, I just like have like a huge board of stuff. Oh boy, this is gonna really juice us. So first thing we can do is cast this Mind Stone, and then let's just evoke the Soul of Migration, right? So enters, makes 2 tokens, 3 triggers. This dies. 3 triggers from this and the 2 tokens. So we go 1, 2, 3. This now go to combat. This attack, this attack, this attack. Give this flying, give this flying, give this flying. You kind of just see how these things are just busted when you have like stuff like this, And look, we even have like another one next turn. We don't need them anymore, but we have more. Let's have an Aeronaut, make 2 more tokens. We can proliferate. We've got just like stuff coming out the wazoo. Okay, I like this. This feels good. All right, let's see. This is good. This is very serviceable. So we're gonna draw a card for turn. Let's go. I see we're on the same plan of only draw 1 type of basic land for a bunch of turns, but that's okay. We have a Silvermere. Fear not. Let's get this Study Hall out here so we can do, I think it has a 3-mana spell with double blue. We'll cast this Dockworker Drone and just with a counter, and we'll just get this Ornithopter out because we're going to need to push, we need access to more blue mana. Okay, so now we have like a good thing to put counters on. We have enough mana to do stuff. We can just do this. 1, 2, 3. Cast the Mentor. Put a counter here. 1, 2, 3. Cast the Aerial Guide. Put a counter here. The thing is, like, even though we're just using these like Windrakes to put counters on stuff, they're still Windrakes. They still attack for 2 in the air. This all just like feels really good to me. As somebody who plays a lot of creature decks, this feels good. Not gonna lie. Alright, so now we drew an extra land. So we play our 5th land, and now we can do all kinds of stuff. We can play Eyes in the Skies and put some counters on things. I kind of am okay with that. I think we got enough mana to do stuff. So we 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll make a couple birds. Uh-oh. Make a couple birds. Counters here. And now we can combat, attack, 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 get this flying. Post combat, we can experimental augury, put another counter here. Look at the top 3. Oof, we'll take this one. These can both go on the bottom. And then, yeah, next turn. Land ain't bad. We have this, so we can play this as a protection spell. We can just cast it as another creature. We can dome something for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, this feels good. Let's go back here a little bit. Let's make some room for a, I hate this printing, for an ephemerate. Let's do Masters. Let's cut the Crusader of Odric, because these ones just scale better. We'll cut the Condor. We don't need that one. I think we're finding that we are able to hit them regularly and we have enough. We still have 6 of them. I'll switch these printings as I go. That's 98 cards. Let's go to 40 creatures. We'll cut 1 more creature. Oh, I hate this one. Okay. I want to keep the Slith. I think this is a cool ability. I want to keep... We'll cut the Beloved Princess. Okay, so we got 3 spots. I want to make 1 more. I want to make room for 1 more card. I want to do 4 flicker spell. No, we'll do 3. We'll do 3. We'll do Scroll Shift. We'll do Ephemerate. And we'll do Cloud Shift. Maybe there's a better one. Oh, you know what we'll do is we won't play Scroll Shift. We will play Essence Flux. I keep forgetting this card was downshifted. Just a good another a 1 mana flicker spell. So we got 3 1 mana flickers. Because I think it's pretty fair to say that even if we're just flickering a Quillen to get an extra counter, that can be good sometimes. But we also have, a lot of these creatures, the flyers of the ETBs, right? We've got Celestial Regulator, Life Sky Knight, Inspiring Overseer, Inspiring Aeronaut. We've got, Soul Migration. We can flicker Saltwood Pack Beast to draw an extra card if we want to. The thing's already huge, so it's not, doesn't need all of our counter attention. Yeah, that feels fine to me. All right, let's take it back in. Ooh, but first though, let's change these. Sorry, printings tend to bother me. Other decks, I've been able to overlook it, but I really just need printings that are appealing, and these ones are not. Where's just your regular old Thorn of Ultra? There we go. Zori's Signet. Where's my original Signet? Ascension. There we are. Thaw Vessel. What, 753? We got time for 1 more if I can do this real quick. And I can do it quick. There we go. Let's Star Compass. That's just a list printing. Let's do Iconic Masters. And then Mind Stone. Let's search for Weatherlight. Actually, it's just what matches the modern frame. Let's do the Dominaria United. Or Remastered, sorry. Okay. We'll get this one out of here. Commander 2011. Okay. This seems fine. Don't want the showcase for this. Okay, I'm done. We're going back in. Alright, got some lands, got some double strikers, no flyers, but we have 1 here. Let's do this. Okay, drop. We'll play a tap land turn 1. Got nothing else to do. Turn 2, let's get this fencing ace out here. And then turn 3, we can just start in with our commander, right? Just like turn 3 of a 2/2 double striker. Seems fine. Just keep drawing lands. That's fine. 2. Okay, we've got 2 creatures. Let's just play. Let's say we, tap down their blocker, attack, deal a bunch of damage, whatever. Another land. It's kind of unfortunate. Not really drawing into a whole lot. We can do Billy Rider, And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, cast the Phalanx. You know, we can still just keep slamming with this stuff because, you know, it's hard to block. Frost Trickster's just what the doctor ordered. So we, you know, cast this, lock down, select something down. Let's put a counter here. And now we have two power double strikers. Drawing a lot of lands. That's okay though. Let's cut one land, and we'll put in a Saltwater Stalwart. Another like Ophidian, but something that's not glutted at 3 mana. And we'll cut one island. Okay, that feels... I like Saltwater Stalwart a lot, actually. It has a good political element because you can let your opponent draw a card if you want. You can say, like, oh, let this through, take the damage, I'll let you draw a card. That sort of thing. And it's a 2/4 for 4. There's, I think, some value in diversifying your mana values. Like, obviously, these creatures are better at 3 mana. But in a deck like this, we have tons of 3-drops. If you look at our distribution here, we have 16 permanents with mana value 3. And not very many with 4. So just curving a little bit better. I think Saltwater Stalwart is better in this scenario, just because it just plays a little bit better in what we're doing. Oh, let's get one with enough playable lands here. There we go. As no creatures. Sorry, I'm being picky. Okay, this one's fine. All right. Draw. Boom. Oval Palace. Looking for a flyer, at least one. Got 2 mana. Cast a Stockworker Drone. We're not in a rush to like deploy our commanders, so like we can even take a turn and use the Opal Palace if we want to. Oh, that's a good one. So now I've got 3 mana. We can just cast Silvermere. We can leave up Ephemerate as like a protection spell if we want. That's like another functionality of these cards. Alright, then turn 4, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We tap this to do it, leave this untapped. Enters with a counter. This enters, it gets a counter, you know, attack for 3. Get the Stalwart out there. You know, attack. Got 2 mana. We can Ephemerate if we want. But now we've got a lot of... Yeah, so now we can tap these. Cast a Squad Captain. We've got 4 other creatures. So it enters with 4 counters. You see how like this thing just is big. It's very big on-rate creatures. That's what I like. And we've got like removal up. We've got Ephemerate should we need to. You know, go combat. We'll attack. Now let's say we draw a card here. These all seem great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast the Spectral Reserves. Make 2 tokens. Oops, not illusion, but you get the idea. We'll just use these ones. And we'll put counters here. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3. Cast a Bugler. Look at the top 4. We'll get Inspiring Overseer. These 3 go to the bottom. What time is it? 7:58. We'll take one more turn. Oof, that's a good one. What we'll do is we'll just go 1, 2, boom, boom, boom. Attack with all this stuff. What we'll do, actually, which is like kind of slick, is we'll Injitsu in this Shinobi, and we'll rebuy this to make a bigger one. Then this happens, we make an illusion, put a counter here, and then next turn, we redeploy this, and now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now it's an 11/11. And we still have all of this stuff to do. So yeah, you kind of get the idea. It definitely is a deck that runs into like the wrong half problem sometimes. It's just going to happen when your deck wants 2 entirely different things. But I think we found enough ways to bridge the gaps between them in a way that feels pretty natural. And we get to like play a bunch of cool spells too, like some flicker stuff, some token stuff, just like some good straightforward removal spells, some weird like token generating draw, like Rousing the Souls is awesome. I think we need to cast these and I think the games that we've Goldfish, but you know, they're good. And you got to see how good Squad Captain can be too, especially in a deck where like we can give it evasion with these cards. You know, I think like this thing just gets huge. That's why I'm a really big fan of these cards. But that's it. I really like where we ended up. I think this card's actually really cool for a card that, you know, kind of flew under the radar. Not the most compelling, you know, when it was released in a really kind of like sort of bad mechanical space. Um, you know, the flying matters archetype cares about non-flying creatures, just kind of stupid and counterintuitive. But I think there's a really cool way to build this card in this format, and you know, I encourage y'all to maybe take this as a starting point, look at the creatures a little bit more, see what appeals to you, and see what you can make work. But I think we've got a good starting point here. So with that, as always, we'll go into the ending spiel. This deck list is going to be in the description, so you can find it and do whatever you want with it. The bookmark to all of the other decks that we've built over the last 9 months are in there as well, for you again to do with what you please. And then below that are 2 links to Trevor Project and Trans Lifeline. If you are able to, if you have the means, by all means, consider contributing some of your hard-earned American dollars to those organizations. And with that, I'm going to leave you there. So have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll see you next time. And who knows what I'm going to build next week? I'll let you know when I figure that out. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good whatever. Bye-bye now.